This is Glenn Andrews from Heroes and Kings. It's been a while since I posted some stuff up. I think the last thing was Accountability or Honor, or maybe it was the Title of Man, or Where's the Balance, or What is Being Too Corny. Really don't have to do this YouTube stuff, but I do it more for my kids and for the young men that I kind of mentor and teach as a coach and runner of a gym and a personal trainer. I have young brothers that come by my gym that just come by and just ask me questions and just want to tap in, about what's going on in the world and different directions on how they should go on some business or personal things or even some relationship stuff. And I try to shoot the shit on the real. And I don't tell cats or young brothers or young men, because I talk to folks of different backgrounds and different ethnicities. And I kind of stay away from current events, but one current event stood out, and it was the situation in Chicago where the young lady was at a restaurant and the guy hit her, and the news put out a bunch of information about she texted the son to go get the gun, and then the son shot the guy and killed him, and just a whole bunch of propaganda and narrative and news that was false and lie to set up a particular narrative of young men and moms and single moms and everything that's involved in that. And I've been in my kid's life. I'm married to be married 28 years, coming up here in October. Grew up in Southern California, athlete. My mom and dad live about a mile away from me. They're in their 80s. And my brother, I have a stepbrother and a younger brother, older stepbrother and a younger brother, who both were truck drivers. And my brother called me and said, "Hey, Glenn, did you see what happened with that whole situation in Chicago and my man swinging on the lady and the son shooting him?" And I caught a glimpse of the video one time, but then I couldn't watch it anymore. Or not even repeat watching, because one of the things I don't do is just continuously click on negativity, because that's part of that programming that has shifted from TV, music to now the internet and social media, where you can't even resist clicking on something that doesn't feed your soul, doesn't feed your heart, but all it does is negative vibration, negative frequency. And growing up in Southern California, we used to hear what we call hippies. And we used to think it was a lot of hippie shit about being out and about, being out in the world, the beach, the sun, the earth, water, natural eating, berries, and being vegan. And as I'm getting older and I'm closing in on 60, it's something to that hippie shit. I grew up around gang members, athletes, drug dealers, entrepreneurs, and a small community, Logan Heights in San Diego. Many of the men and families there are the migration of the folks from the South during Jim Crow and coming west. A lot through the military. My dad was an uncle. My uncles my dad and my uncle were all in the Army. I have cousins who were in the Navy. I have a brother-in-law that was in the Air Force, sister-in-law that was in the Navy. My father-in-law was in the Air Force. So we have military discipline on both sides of the family. I say and bring all of this to who I am and what I am and where I am. Growing up in Southern California is traps. And there's a lot of traps in this world. Luckily, I had two parents who come out of Jim Crow, who said education comes first. Education comes before you can go hit that baseball or run that football. And because I have an IIQ and did a lot of reading, I always observed the world as if I was a spectator, but I also am a participant. As I've gotten older, going to Morehouse, getting my MBA, getting married, having my kids, being in corporate America, being around the corporate gangsters, walking away from it, leaving a lot of money on the table to become a trainer, coach, mentor. As I watch the world, particularly watching what's taking place in the Black community, from what's going on with relationships, what's going on with young men, what's going on with young women, the audacity and the lack of shame to just basically walk around butt naked, damn near. I'm in the gym world, and some of the things I see in the gym, my big mama would roll in her grave. But I done got desensitized to it. Spent a lot of time hiking with my wife and son. Spent a lot of time in the desert with my daughter, getting away from the city, getting away from COVID, getting away from the Karens and the Craigs, getting away from the racism, getting away from those individuals in law enforcement who are not following the honor of the law. I am a weapons master. Too often, we see snippets of something and everybody's running with it with their own analysis of it, especially when it comes to fighting and shooting and drive-by shootings and all that entails. I was on the inside. I was at parks. I was in parties. I was around guys who was in that life. And I had to distance myself from that because I was an athlete. I had to avoid the traps. What this world, what our community need right now is just a few good men. Just a few. Atlas is not shrugging. Zulu is shrugging. Mansa Musa is shrugging. Nat Turner is shrugging. Medgar Evers is shrugging. Malcolm X is shrugging. Muhammad Ali is shrugging. Bill Russell is shrugging. Jim Brown is shrugging. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is shrugging. Master Fuad Muhammad is shrugging. We have a cancer in our community, and I'm not the doctor, I'm not the surgeon, I just have to protect minds. I've been a good citizen all my life, a good citizen of this earth. It's too little to say just to be an American, just to be a Georgia citizen, just to be in Atlanta, just to be in North America. I am a man of this planet, a man of this universe. And as I observe what is going on, as I'm closing in on my 60th birthday, King Leonidas said it was 300. I don't know what the number is, but I know right now This world is looking, requires just a few good men. Just a few. Don't care if they're politicians. Don't care if they're basketball players, football players, policemen, firemen, teachers, plumbers, carpenters, mayors, governors, tree cutters, mailmen. This world is in need of a few good men. Glenn Andrews, Heroes and Kings.